If you think you haven't heard any crazy stories from Fresno, prepare for this one, because there's video evidence. Back in the late 90s/early 2000s, weird sightings of a strange cryptid have been seen around Fresno, California. However, in 2007, a surveillance video caught these strange creatures on camera with really long legs and small heads. I'm gonna be inserting the video in like 2 seconds, so you have been warned. The show Fact or Faked actually did an episode on these creatures to see if they were real or not. These professional paranormal investigators could find no evidence that this was faked in any sort of way. They deemed these creatures to be completely unexplainable, and some people even call them the protectors of the forest. What makes these creatures super eerie is the fact that we don't even know what they stem from, what their origin story is, where they came from, what they are, why they exist. But they do continue to pop up around this area, so if somebody was faking this, they would have to be really persistent. Don't forget to comment your hometown so you can be featured in the next Urban Legends video.
Today we're talking about Longhorse. Longhorse is an internet urban legend creature that was created by Trevor Henderson. It originates in 2018, and it's a creature that has a horse skull without a jaw as a head. Longhorse established as a legend when a picture of the creature began to spread on the internet in August of 2018. Trevor posted a picture of the creature with a description that he had dreamt of the horse beforehand. Many other photos began to pop up on the internet of Longhorse, and some telling more about the origins of the horse. Longhorse is actually seen to be a pure and harmless creature whose goal is to warn humans about upcoming dangers. He's able to travel in people's dreams, which is how he warns them. If you see or hear his neck crack in the dream, it's a message from him that's trying to warn you about something bad coming up. And bad things don't happen because of him, he's just there to warn you.
This is why you need to watch out for a man with orange eyes. Orange eyes is actually a cryptid that you can find in Ohio. It's reported to be over 11 feet tall and 1,000 pounds. It is said that Orange Eyes lives under a Cleveland cemetery, and the first time he was ever seen was on March 28th of 1959. On that day, he attacked 2 teenagers that were hanging out at Lover's Lane. They claimed he was large and hairy and had these bright orange eyes. He also had this matted black hair and a strange odor. He was last spotted in 1991 when he appeared to 2 fishermen in Mill Creek, and afterwards he apparently ran into a nearby woods and he was never seen again. Some people believe he's actually an alien, but to this day he still remains a mystery.
So we're all familiar with Area 51, how it's said to have UFOs there, alien things there, even alien bodies from the Roswell, New Mexico UFO crash. This is a story about Area 51 that will give you nightmares. This young woman right here's name is Abigail Weston, and she was turned into a human lab rat at Area 51. In the 1940s, the US Army wanted to make their soldiers more powerful, so they decided to start doing tests to see if they could develop immortality. They would do these tests at the US Air Force Base Area 51. They needed to find somebody to do these tests on though, and that's when a highly renowned scientist by the name of Albert Weston proposed that they use his daughter Abigail Weston. They started doing different experiments on her and loading her up with different chemicals. She started to change in her physical appearance, her teeth grew really long, and she started getting really tall. Follow for part 2.
Do you guys remember that creepy Beanie Baby urban legend? There was a rumor back in 2014 that was freaking people out all around the world. The rumor was that spider eggs were used to fill these popular Beanie Babies back in the 1990s. And it was said that in 2014, these spider eggs were beginning to hatch. Now, apparently these spider eggs belong to brown recluse spiders, which are horrifying to look at. And all over the world, people were reporting that these brown baby spiders were bursting through the seams of their Beanie Babies everywhere. So people were throwing out their Beanie Babies left, right, and center because obviously they didn't want these spiders to be like hatching all over their bedroom. But thankfully, later on it came out that all this was just a hoax. Because obviously spider eggs can't just lay dormant for over 20 years, that's impossible. But still to this day, I can't look at Beanie Babies the same. I just can't.
Today I'll be talking about an urban legend about goblins in Mexico. So in Mexico, there's this well-known rumor about goblins taking newborn babies out of their cribs and kidnapping them. And most of the newborn babies that were kidnapped by the goblins, also known as duendes in Mexico, they were usually found drowned in rivers or never seen again. And so kids disappearing was very common in Mexico, and they would just blame it on the goblins. So one night, this recently married couple that already had a baby was about to go to sleep. And so the mom had decided to put her newborn baby to bed, and the baby's name was Sonia. A few hours go by and everybody's asleep. The mother decides to check on her baby because she hasn't cried in a long time, and she thought that wasn't normal. And for the mother's surprise, the baby was missing, and she automatically knew it was the duende. The woman immediately woke up her husband, and they lit up a torch and woke up everybody in the town. Part 2 is up.
Japanese mythical beings you never knew existed. Hanako-san is a young girl who haunts school bathrooms. Some say if you go to the 3rd floor bathroom of a school, go to the 3rd stall and knock 3 times, ask Hanako-san, are you there? A girl with a bobbed haircut and a red dress will answer, yes, I am. The ghostly, bloody hand of Hanako-san will then reach out and grab you and pull you down into the toilet. Some say you'll go straight to hell. Different sources have different reasons as to why she's there. Some sources say she was killed in an air raid during World War II while playing hide and seek. Some say she committed suicide. And some say she was killed by a parent or a stranger in that bathroom. Hanako-san made her first appearance in film in the 1995 movie Toire no Hanako-san and has appeared in various series and films since then. That's all for today. See you next time. Bye!
Please, can you do Jeff the Killer? Yes, let's do it. Jeff the Killer is a creepypasta about a young teenage boy named Jeff who got beaten up so bad by these bullies he had to go to the hospital. Jeff and his brother Lou had just moved into a new neighborhood. There were some bullies in the neighborhood who didn't like Jeff and Lou, and they ended up beating Jeff up really bad. They ended up setting Jeff on fire. Jeff went to the hospital, and when the doctors finally showed him what his face looked like from all the burns, he was extremely disfigured, but he started laughing at his reflection, saying that he liked it. The doctors thought that this behavior was probably just a side effect of the pain medication he was on, and they sent him home. When Jeff went home, he went up to his bedroom to rest, and then his mom went to check on him, and what she found was so disturbed. She found Jeff in his bedroom staring at his reflection in his mirror, carving a smile into his face. This is what Jeff looked like. Beware, it's really disturbing. And the story gets even worse. Follow for part.
Scariest urban legends from every state. Texas, the Candy Lady. In the 1900s, children in an unnamed rural town began to go missing, and people were blaming it on the Candy Lady. The story says that she would go around leaving candy on children's windowsills, and she would be able to lure them in by leaving notes promising more candy. This story picked up steam when a farmer found rotted teeth on his farm and eventually found the dead body of a boy with candy stuffed in his pocket. While little is known about the origin of this story, many claim that the Candy Lady is real, and her name was Clara Crane. Whichever state gets the most likes, I'll do tomorrow.
La Planchada is a Mexican ghost story of a nurse who is often seen in hospitals. The story takes place in the 1930s and tells the tale of a nurse who took great pride in her job and always made sure her uniform was clean, crisp, and perfectly ironed. She ended up falling in love with one of the doctors at the hospital, and they were shortly engaged. The doctor left town to attend a medical seminar, and weeks went by where she did not hear from him. Beside herself with worry, she found out that the doctor met another woman while he was away, and the two had wed. She was extremely heartbroken and fell into such a deep depression that she started to neglect her own patients. One of her patients ended up passing away as a direct result of her neglect, and she became ill herself. She ended up passing away in the hospital where she worked, and it is reported that when the hospital staff are neglecting their patients, this ghostly nurse cares for them instead. When patients are asked how they seem to miraculously recover, they are reported saying, "A nurse came in and healed me."
The urban legend of Talipo. This story takes place with a poor, starving old man in the woods with his 3 dogs. While he's out hunting for food, he sees this giant creature, which he ends up shooting at, thinking that it will provide a lot of food for him and his 3 dogs. The creature then starts demonically screaming before it runs away back into the woods. The man then proceeds to go over and pick up its tail that he had shot off and decides to make it into a stew and eat it for dinner. Later that night, when the man is off drifting to sleep, he hears a rustling and a clawing noise around him, looking up to find that the creature is sitting right at the end of his bed, demanding the return of its Talipo. The man then calls for his dogs, who come to his aid and chases off the beast into the middle of the night. However, only 2 of the 3 dogs returned. The man then tries to go back to sleep, only to find that Telipo has returned an hour later, demanding with even more force the return of its Telipo. Predictably, the two dogs chase the creature away, but only one returns. Next part coming in 2 seconds.